first day of fall astronomically as well. I'm meteorologist Jonathan Bellis.
And I'm meteorologist Melanie Steinberg, and it is just going to be us two running your show tonight. And now I'm going to kick John off, and I'm going to take it to the current conditions. We're sitting at 84 in Tallahassee, so that's relatively cool. Our humidity is only at 49%. So it's much cooler, it feels much cooler outside compared to what we have been seeing, just because the humidity is lower, so therefore our temperatures have been feeling nicer. And it truly did feel like the first day of autumn. It was very seasonable out today, and then our temperatures are going to be cooling off a little bit. We're going to be seeing drier air, so it's going to be less humidity, less moisture in the air, but that's going to be changing for the weekend as the rain is going to return this weekend. But now, John, what's tonight's forecast? You're going to have to stay tuned to find out what the forecast is. And now, John, we got some stories to tell some people, don't we?
Yeah, the reason we're actually on an abbreviated show tonight is because of the Board of Trustees meeting tonight at Florida State that decided that our new president is Dr. John Thrasher, and that is breaking news within the last half hour here in Tallahassee.
Yeah,
but there's a lot more going on here in Tallahassee than just that. Tomorrow afternoon, and actually tomorrow morning, we start off with some fun at the Civic Center.
Yeah, there's actually going to be a Sesame Street show live called Make a New Friend.
Yeah, we invited Elmo here tonight. Unfortunately, he was a little busy getting ready for that show.
Yeah.
But tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. and again tomorrow night at 6:30, tomorrow night after our show, tomorrow night, Elmo and the rest of his friends will be performing at the Civic Center.
Yeah, and it costs $12, but if you have a group of 10 or more, it's going to cost $19 for all of you guys to get in.
So lots of fun out there. The weather should be perfect. There's lots to do tomorrow.
Yeah, there certainly is lots to do tomorrow, and it's going to be nice here, but there's a storm going on in the Pacific right now?
Yeah, actually there might be a slight burst in the rain clouds out there for the first time in weeks for Northern California. Some wind in there as well, and we'll get to that later in the national, but there's also a storm that's been affecting us here on the East Coast.
Oh, really? What is that?
Yeah, there's that stationary front that we've been dealing with the last couple of days is finally getting out of our hair. It is heading up the East Coast, a couple inches of rain for the Carolinas.
Yeah, so that's some nice rain that they're going to see there.
For us, though, that drier air has reached us here in the Big Bend, so we're going to deal with some of these scenes out here. Our leaves aren't quite changing yet here in Tallahassee, but we're getting there.
Yeah, we still have the rest of autumn. It is only the first day of autumn after all, and today we did have a really seasonable day.
Yeah. It's going to get a little bit more humid, unfortunately, for those of us that really don't like the humidity towards the end of the week.
Yeah, and that's when the rain chances actually are going to be picking back up too.
Yeah, so we're going to return to a couple of days of some summer-like weather with a couple of showers, especially over the weekend.
Yeah, so if you have any weekend plans, watch out because the rain may foil them, unfortunately. So.
Yeah, so I'm going to let you take it over here now with a local forecast.
All right, thank you, John. Yeah, we're going to jump right into our local. Currently, we're sitting at 84 in Tallahassee. It's 85 in Wilma, 83 in Apalachicola. So basically, around the Big Bend, we're sitting in the mid and low 80s. And since our humidity is relatively low compared to what we have been seeing, our heat index is also relatively low. So it's 84, and it only feels like 86 in the capital city right now. So this is much nicer compared to what we have been seeing last week. And then taking a look at our satellite and radar, you can see there was no rain in our area today, barely any clouds. So we're seeing some clear, sunny skies. It's a great first day to our autumn. And then here's the rain mentioned before by John and myself. It's just affecting the Carolinas from that stationary front. And we're seeing some mid and South Florida is getting some patchy rain as well. And the water vapor, you can see this brown and dark gray is all the dry air. So all that dry air is just sitting over Tallahassee, and all this green is just the moisture and how wet it is. So it's really wet up in the Carolinas and in the mid-Orlando area. But taking a look at our futurecast, we have this stationary front just sitting over Florida right now. And tonight's actually going to be a little bit breezy. It's going to be partly cloudy skies, and it's going to be nice. And as we move into tomorrow morning, we're going to be seeing a pleasant day, another pleasant autumn day, just like today. Few high cirrus clouds, not too much to worry about. And going into tomorrow night, we're going to be seeing cooler temperatures, more partly cloudy skies, and we're going to be seeing some 60-degree temperatures. So that is going to be nice if you're to get outside and experience those cooler temperatures. If you want to go boating tomorrow, though, it's actually going to be kind of windy, so it may not be the best day to go boating. We're going to have northeast winds at 20 knots The waters are going to be choppy. It's going to be 2 to 6 feet with partly cloudy skies. So again, if you do go boating, just be careful. And it's going to be the same story for the beach. Look at that water temperature. It's only 58 degrees. So tomorrow may not be the best day to go swimming in the ocean. And the UV index is 6, so that's still considered high. So if you do go to the beach, just make sure you have your sunglasses, hat, sunscreen, all that to protect you from the sun. And tonight, we're going to be reaching 64 degrees. It's going to be cool. It's going to be a little bit muggy as our humidity is going to crank back a little bit up into the 70s for tonight. The clouds are going to be clearing into tomorrow. All the clouds will be mostly gone. It's going to be mostly sunny. It's going to be another very seasonable day like today. We're going to reach a high of 84. So it's going to be a very nice day, very seasonable. And taking a look at the 7 days, we're going to be staying in the high 80s for our highs and the high 60s for our lows. The rain, again, starts to pick back up into your weekend. But now, we're going to take it out to John.
Yeah, here's the national forecast that I looked at, and you can actually see that pretty strong storm system off the west coast of the United States right now, and we'll get a closer look at that in a second, but there's actually 2 more systems to talk about. There's another system crossing through the northern plains right now, crossing into western Minnesota, causing some storms down into Missouri and Nebraska this afternoon, a couple of severe storms there. And then we've got that third system that we've been talking about for, it seems like weeks almost, with this stationary system down towards our south. It's only been there for a couple of days. That's the system that crossed us yesterday. But this is going to cause some troublesome areas across the eastern Carolinas and up into the northeast over the next couple of days. A couple of inches of rain there, possibly up to 3 or 4 inches of rain from Nags Head up towards Roanoke in the DC area. But this system is finally going to get out of our hair as we head into the weekend. So let's delve into the national forecast one by one. Temperatures very warm across much of the country. 81 degrees in Denver, 84 in Dallas, 90 in San Antonio. The real change is going to come in from that west with that western system. Here's that look, giant storm system off the west coast. Here we are, Seattle right here, Vancouver just toward the north, and rainfall is going to spread inland over the next couple of days. You can already start to see that across the Olympia Mountains down into western Oregon, and this is going to continue to wash ashore over the next couple of days and really bring in possibly some mudslides across areas that haven't seen rain in a couple of weeks to even months out there. There's still some fires going on, churning up the land there, so there's really not a whole lot to hold that water up into the mountains, and we could actually see some early season snow in some of the Sierra Nevada mountains as we head into Thursday afternoon. Here's that second storm system. Again, some scattered showers, not a whole lot of rain with this system, but there were a couple of stronger storms in southeastern Nebraska around the Lincoln area over towards Des Moines, and that's pushing off towards the east and northeast. Not really going to cause a whole lot of problems across the mid-section of the country, but will cause some problems down to the south. They've actually had a couple of stronger storms across the Melbourne area up towards the Volusia County area, and possibly some stronger rain showers as this whole system moves off towards the north and east and really sorts of amps up. Again, 1 to 3 inches of rain for much of this area, possible spots up to 4 inches from Nags Head up to Cape Hatteras and farther towards the north. This is all going to push off and away from the United States over the next couple of days. This weekend is looking good, but this frontal system isn't going to stay down towards the south. It's going to come back towards the north, bringing us rain chances and slightly better humidity, depending on your perspective, some more humidity as we head towards Friday and Saturday. And around the Caribbean, not a whole lot to talk about, thankfully. Just a lot of cloud cover, mainly just some thunderstorms from Jamaica up towards Cuba. We see Cuban thunderstorms just as often as we have them here in Florida. Nothing to talk about across most of the Atlantic, pretty clear across the Atlantic. Not even really any storm activity out in the East Atlantic. Temperatures across most of the country is pretty cool, in the 50s and 60s for just about the entire country, except for along I-10 and farther south where they're in the 70s and 80s. Tomorrow's forecast is looking fantastic as well. 80s and 90s for most of the country. Some cooler weather in the mid-Atlantic and northeast due to that storm system across that area. Now, Melanie, you've got a closer look here at the southeast.
Thank you, John. Yep, and we're going to jump right back into those weather headlines again. So again, today was our first day of autumn, very seasonable day. And throughout the week, we're going to be seeing those cooler temperatures, but the rain is going to return next weekend. But currently around the southeast, we're sitting at 83 in Tallahassee. It's 79 up in Little Rock, 84 in New Orleans, 81 down in Miami, so we're actually at a warmer temperature than down in Miami, which is very surprising because that rarely happens. Our humidity is at 53%, so that's relatively low, and that's why we are seeing that heat index of only 85. So our heat index is only a few degrees above our temperature, and that's just because our humidity is relatively low, and we're seeing a lot of dry air. Then you can see from the stationary front, all this moisture, all those bands of rain is just affecting the Carolinas and mid-Florida around the Orlando area. But that's going to be clearing out, and it's going to be leaving some nicer air. Again, in Tallahassee, we're seeing all this dry air just affecting us. But to our south and to our northeast, we're seeing all that wet, moist air. So that's going to be clearing out, thankfully. And we're not going to be seeing any of that until this weekend. Futurecast, though, we have this stationary front just draped across mid-Florida, and tonight's going to be a little bit breezy. We're going to be seeing 5 to 10 mile per hour winds, and tomorrow we're going to have another day like today. It's going to be a very pleasant, very sunny day, so get out on Landis and study and enjoy the weather while it lasts, because once we move into the weekend, the clouds are going to get to roll in, the storm chances are going to increase, so enjoy the clouds or enjoy the sun while it still lasts. Tonight, though, we're going to be sitting at 66 in Tallahassee. It's going to be 58 in Montgomery, 55 in Little Rock, 77 down in Miami, 80 in Key West. So up to our north, we are seeing those cooler temperatures, and down to the south, we are seeing those warmer temperatures. We're right in the middle, but it's still very seasonable, and it's very autumn-like for this time of the year. Tomorrow, we're going to be seeing we're going to be 84 degrees. It's going to be 83 in Montgomery, 79 in Atlanta, 88 down in Key West. So we're seeing very fall-like conditions. We're going to be seeing cooler temperatures into the 80s. So that's going to be a wonderful break. But now, John, let's have a look at our last local.
Yeah, temperatures are pretty nice for this time of year. 83, right about average this afternoon. 85 down at the coast. If you have the time this week, and even into this weekend, head down to St. Mark's, St. George Island, head down to Apalachicola if you can. It's going to be fantastic. There's going to be a couple of showers during the afternoon hours, so if you can head down there during the morning hours, it's going to be great down there. Temperatures and even the humidity starting to drop around the area. No shower activity across the entire Big Bend. A couple of clouds passing through our Georgia counties this morning, but most of those are heading out of the area. A couple of clouds as well down to the south. That's going to continue to push down south with that cool front. What else is pushing down towards the south? This is wind. The longer the wind barb here, the more wind. So it's been gusty today, and we're expecting that on and off throughout the week as that cool front pushes down and then back up towards the end of the week. Temperatures tomorrow morning up down into the low to mid 60s. Some 70s down closer to the coast, a little bit warmer with the Gulf water still in the 70s and 80s down there. And then tomorrow afternoon we rebound back up into the upper 70s to mid 80s around the area. But again, the best thing is it's going to be a little bit breezy, but it's going to be fantastic with that warm conditions. Again, that stationary front is going to stay there for a couple of days, but by the end of the week, we're going to be dealing with some increased moisture, and those rain chances rebound back towards 30 to 50% by the end of the week. Cooler conditions at night for the next couple of nights, again, into the 60s for the most part, with a couple of clouds pushing through Wednesday, Thursday, and especially as we head into Friday and Saturday. Again, here's another look at that cool front draped across right around the Nature Coast over towards the Melbourne area. This is going to push down towards the south just a little bit more for your Wednesday, and then it's going to come back on Thursday and into Friday. For tonight's forecast, we're looking at 64 degrees here in Tallahassee. Again, a little bit warmer down towards the coast, upper 60s to low 70s down along the Big Bend, with a couple of clouds pushing through, but gusty conditions. It's going to be 10 to 15 miles an hour around most of the area. And then here's how we're going to break down your day tomorrow. 67 during the early morning hours, and then warming up quickly up into the 80s by mid-afternoon. Sunshine is the only thing we can talk about, with a couple of clouds pushing through the area. Nothing bad to talk about until really we hit the end of the week. Here's how it looks for the end of the week. 30 to 40% chance Friday and Saturday, 50% chance by Sunday and Monday. And now we're going to bring Melanie back on to wrap up this Jonathan and Melanie show. It was a fantastic time here talking about the weather, and really nothing bad to talk about.
No, just sun, clear conditions. I mean, it's going to be a great rest of the week up until the weekend.
Yeah, and we hope you have the time to go out to that Sesame Street show tomorrow night. But for now, join us tomorrow at 6 o'clock here again.